The discovery. Chief archaeologist Venza adjusted her crystalline sensory arrays as she studied the massive structure floating in the void. The ancient space station hung against the backdrop of a dying star, its angular design a stark contrast to the organic architecture favored by modern civilizations. Her research vessel, the Eternal Seeker, had been tracking unusual quantum signatures for 3 cycles before finally locating this relic of humanity's supposed golden age. "Another worthless human artifact," muttered her assistant, Kral NX, his bioluminescent patterns flickering with disdain. "We should mark it for salvage and continue our survey." Venza's crystalline form shimmered with disagreement. "Look at the energy readings, Kral. This station is still drawing power from somewhere, after 50,000 years of abandonment. That alone makes it worthy of study." The Eternal Seeker's sensors painted a puzzling picture. Despite its apparent age, the station's hull showed minimal deterioration. No signs of micrometeorite impacts, no radiation damage, nothing to suggest it had been exposed to the harsh void for millennia. According to historical records, humanity had vanished during the Great Collapse, leaving behind only scattered remnants of their civilization. Yet this station seemed to defy entropy itself. "Beginning detailed scan," announced their ship's AI. "Warning, detecting unusual quantum fluctuations within the station's core. Structure appears to be generating its own localized spacetime distortion." Kral NX's patterns shifted to show alarm. "Impossible. Even our most advanced stations can't maintain stable spacetime bubbles. The humans were barely able to achieve faster-than-light travel when they disappeared." Venza moved their ship closer, her scientific curiosity overwhelming any sense of caution. The station's design was utilitarian but elegant, a central hub with 3 extending arms, each ending in what appeared to be massive energy collectors. Or perhaps weapons arrays. The historical records were frustratingly vague about humanity's military capabilities. "I'm detecting an automated docking system," she announced. "Still functional, if you can believe it. Kral, prepare an expedition pod. We're going aboard." "Chief, I must protest," Kral NX's patterns showed both fear and concern. "The Galactic Council's guidelines clearly state that human military installations should be reported and quarantined pending full investigation." "This is a full investigation," Venza countered, already moving toward their ship's equipment bay. "And we don't know it's a military installation. It could be a research station, or a civilian habitat." As they prepared their expedition gear, Venza couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The station's external sensors, presumed dead for millennia, seemed to track their movement. But that was impossible. Nothing human-built could last so long without maintenance. The expedition pod detached from the Eternal Seeker with a soft thud. As they approached the station's automated docking port, ancient mechanisms whirred to life with surprising smoothness. The door cycled open, revealing a pressurized airlock that could have been built yesterday. "Atmosphere reading within normal parameters," Kral NX reported, his scientific training temporarily overriding his apprehension. "Temperature 294 Kelvin. No sign of biological or chemical hazards." They stepped through the airlock into a corridor that stretched into darkness. Their illumination fields revealed walls of an unusual metal, not the standard alloys used in modern construction, but something far more sophisticated. The walls seemed to absorb and redirect their light in subtle ways. "Look at these markings," Venza said, studying symbols etched into the walls. Their universal translator struggled for a moment before rendering the human text. "Trinity Station. Authorized personnel only. Project Watchkeeper." "Trinity Station," Kral NX mused. "No mention of it in any of our historical databases. Another mystery to add to the human puzzle." They proceeded deeper into the station, their sensors mapping as they went. The layout was surprisingly intuitive, leading them toward what appeared to be a central control room. Everything was powered, humming with quiet energy, but in a state of low-power standby. The control room's door slid open at their approach, revealing a circular chamber filled with dormant holographic projectors and control interfaces. In the center stood a pedestal with a simple crystal interface, one that looked suspiciously similar to modern quantum computing cores. "This can't be right," Kralnx said, scanning the interface. "This technology, it's beyond anything in our historical records. The humans shouldn't have been capable of this level of quantum manipulation." Venza approached the pedestal, her scientific instincts overwhelming her caution. As she drew near, the crystal began to pulse with a soft blue light. The holographic projectors suddenly flickered to life, filling the room with a three-dimensional star map of the galaxy. A voice spoke, not in ancient human language, but in perfect modern galactic standard. "Identity confirmed, non-human sentience detected. Security Protocol Alpha 7 initiated. Welcome to Trinity Station. You are now part of Project Watchkeeper. May God help us all." The star map zoomed in on a region of space far beyond the galaxy's edge, where something massive was stirring in the void. Something that humanity had seen coming 50,000 years ago, and had prepared for in ways that would shake the galaxy's understanding of their primitive predecessors. Venza's patterns shifted to show a complex mixture of fear and excitement. They had just discovered that humanity hadn't disappeared. They had been preparing. And now she needed to know what they had been preparing for. The awakening. The holographic display pulsed with increasing intensity as Trinity Station systems continued their awakening sequence. Venza and Kralnx watched in stunned silence as layers of data cascaded through the control room, each revelation more impossible than the last. Processing historical archive access request, the station's AI announced. Warning, Level 7 security clearance required for full data access. Proceeding with authorized disclosure protocols. A figure materialized in the center of the room, a holographic representation of a human female wearing what appeared to be a military uniform. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen, Earth Defense Force, recording this message in the final days of Operation Exodus. If you're seeing this, two things must be true: humanity has successfully gone dark, and the Harbingers are returning." Harbingers. Kralnx's patterns shifted to show confusion. There's no mention of such entities in any historical record. The hologram continued, 50,000 years ago, our deep space arrays detected something moving between the galaxies, a consciousness vast beyond comprehension, driving before it a wave of corrupted spacetime. We called them Harbingers. They feed on civilizations, not by destroying them, but by twisting them into tools for harvesting other worlds. Venza moved closer to the central interface, her crystalline form resonating with the station's quantum field. Data streamed directly into her consciousness, technical specifications that defied known physics, weapon systems that could reshape reality itself, and star charts marking the progression of something massive approaching from intergalactic space. "The Trinity Network was our answer," Admiral Chen's hologram explained. 333 stations, positioned at quantum-sensitive points throughout the galaxy. Each one capable of detecting and countering the Harbinger's spacetime manipulation. But we knew we couldn't fight them directly, not then. We needed time. Time to evolve, to prepare, to become something they couldn't twist to their purposes. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. New holographic displays sprang to life, showing a massive distortion forming at the edge of the galaxy, exactly where the Admiral's warning had indicated. Multiple quantum anomalies detected, the station AI reported. Pattern match, 99.97% correlation with historical Harbinger signatures. Emergency protocols initiated. Beginning full systems activation. The entire station hummed with awakening power. Panels that had seemed like solid metal dissolved, revealing banks of crystalline computers that made their most advanced technology look primitive by comparison. The three arms of the station began to move, realigning themselves into a new configuration. "Chief," Kralnx called out, his patterns showing pure terror now. "The station, it's not just detecting the anomalies. It's responding to them. Look. Venza watched as energy patterns she had never seen before began flowing through the station structure. The humans hadn't built a simple observation post, they had created a node in a galaxy-spanning defense network, disguised as an abandoned relic. Full activation sequence initiated, the AI announced. Warning, detected quantum entanglement signature approaching. Origin, human space. Authentication protocols engaging. Before either researcher could respond, a new ship materialized near the station, appearing not through conventional FTL travel, but through what appeared to be controlled quantum teleportation. Its design was elegant yet alien, clearly of human origin but evolved far beyond what their historical records showed. This is Captain Elena Chen Martinez of the Earth Defense Force vessel Vigilant, a voice transmitted across all frequencies. Trinity Station, Authenticate Protocol, Watchkeeper Prime. The station's response was immediate. Authentication confirmed. Welcome home, Captain. The Harbingers have returned, as predicted. Operation Exodus is now entering its final phase. Venza turned to her assistant, her crystalline form pulsing with the implications of what they were witnessing. Krau, do you understand what this means? The humans didn't vanish, they orchestrated the greatest strategic withdrawal in galactic history. They seeded the galaxy with technology centuries beyond our understanding, then disappeared to prepare for a threat we never knew existed. Through the station's viewport, they could see the human vessel approaching, its hull shifting and flowing like liquid metal, adapting its very structure as it moved. This was humanity transformed, evolved through 50 millennia of preparation into something that could face the Harbingers on equal terms. The station's docking bay opened, and Venza knew their understanding of history, and humanity's place in it, was about to change forever. The real question was whether the galaxy was ready for the return of a species that had spent 50,000 years preparing for this moment. As if reading her thoughts, Admiral Chen's hologram spoke one final time, to those who find this message, you are now part of humanity's longest-running military operation. The Harbingers believe they consume civilizations. We're about to show them that sometimes, the prey becomes the predator. The return. Captain Elena Chen Martinez's footsteps echoed through Trinity Station's corridors as she strode toward the control room, her form shifting subtly with each movement. 50,000 years of human evolution and technological integration had changed her species in profound ways. Her skin shimmered with embedded quantum circuitry, and her eyes held the depth of galaxies. Venza and Kral NX stood transfixed as she entered. Here was living proof that humanity hadn't just survived, they had transcended. I apologize for any alarm we've caused, Elena said, her voice carrying harmonic undertones that seemed to resonate with the station itself. We've been monitoring your civilization's progress for centuries, waiting for the right moment to re-establish contact. The Harbingers forced our hand. You've been watching us. Kral NX's patterns flickered with indignation. All this time, while we studied your abandoned artifacts. Elena's smile held both wisdom and sadness. We needed to ensure the galaxy's civilizations would develop their own path, free from our influence. The Harbingers consume societies that develop along predictable lines. Your people's unique crystalline technology, for instance, it's something they've never encountered before. That makes you valuable allies in what's coming. The station's holographic displays updated, showing massive distortions spreading across the galaxy's edge. What had appeared as simple anomalies now revealed themselves as tears in reality itself, wounds in spacetime through which something vast and hungry was beginning to emerge. Trinity Station, initiate Protocol Lazarus, Elena commanded. The entire structure shuddered as hidden systems activated. The station's 3 arms began generating quantum fields that intersected and amplified each other, creating patterns of energy that defied conventional physics. The network is awakening, Elena explained, gesturing to a new holographic display showing hundreds of similar stations lighting up across the galaxy. Each Trinity station was positioned according to calculations made 50 millennia ago. Together, they form a quantum web capable of detecting and countering the Harbinger's reality-warping abilities. Venza moved closer to the display, her scientific curiosity overriding her awe. These energy patterns, they're similar to our civilization's crystalline computing, but operating on a scale I wouldn't have thought possible. That's not a coincidence, Elena said. We've been subtly guiding certain technological developments across the galaxy, encouraging innovations that would be effective against the Harbingers. Your people's crystalline technology, the Moravian psychic metals, the Zin Collective's living ships, all of them represent approaches to physics that the Harbingers have difficulty corrupting. Suddenly, the station's AI interrupted. Alert, quantum surge detected. Multiple vessels emerging from human space. Authentication protocols engaging. Through the station's viewport, space itself seemed to fold and ripple as more ships appeared, each one a masterpiece of evolved human engineering. Their hulls flowed like liquid mercury, adapting and changing to meet the demands of local spacetime. These weren't just ships, they were expressions of what humanity had become. The Exodus fleet returns, Elena announced, her voice carrying pride and determination. 50,000 years of preparation, 300 generations born and trained in the spaces between galaxies. We're not the humans you read about in your histories. We're what humanity had to become to face this threat. The fleet took up positions around Trinity Station, their quantum fields synchronizing with its own. Each ship was a work of art and a weapon of war, incorporating technologies that made their observers' most advanced theories look like children's drawings. But why reveal yourselves now? Venza asked. Why not continue waiting? Elena's expression darkened. Because the Harbingers aren't just coming, they're already here. They've been seeding our galaxy with their influence for millennia, placing their agents in positions of power across multiple civilizations. The anomalies you're detecting aren't their arrival, they're the final stage of a plan that's been in motion since before we left. She waved her hand, and the holographic display zoomed in on seemingly random points throughout populated space. These are their corruption nodes, quantum singularities they've been using to slowly alter the fundamental constants of our spacetime. If we don't stop them now, they'll turn our entire galaxy into a spawning ground for their kind. Kralnx's patterns showed shock as he recognized one of the locations. That's the capital of the Galactic Council. Yes, Elena confirmed. The Harbingers work through subtlety and corruption. By the time a civilization usually realizes they're under attack, it's already too late. That's why we had to withdraw, to prepare a response they wouldn't expect, couldn't predict, and cannot corrupt. The station hummed with increasing power as more human ships arrived, each one adding its capability to the growing network. Humanity hadn't just been hiding, they had been building an army unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Now, Elena said, turning to face the alien researchers, we need to decide if your people are ready to learn the truth. Because the war that's coming isn't just for humanity's survival, it's for the very nature of reality itself. The transformed humans had returned, bringing with them technologies and capabilities that bordered on the divine. But as Venza watched the anomalies growing at the galaxy's edge, she wondered if even that would be enough against an enemy that had spent 50,000 years weaving itself into the very fabric of civilization. The threat emerges. The Galactic Council chamber erupted into chaos as reality itself seemed to fracture. What began as subtle distortions in the air transformed into tears in spacetime, through which emerged creatures that defied comprehension. The Harbingers had finally revealed themselves. Aboard Trinity Station, Venza, Kralnx, and Captain Elena watched the horror unfold through quantum-linked feeds. The Harbingers weren't simply invading, they were converting matter and energy into forms that served their impossible geometry. It's starting, Elena said, her quantum-enhanced senses reading data streams that flowed through the station. The corruption nodes are activating. They're trying to rewrite the fundamental constants of our spacetime to match their own. The station's displays showed similar scenes playing out across dozens of worlds. Buildings twisted into non-Euclidean shapes, living beings transformed into servants of the Harbinger's will, and the very laws of physics began to break down in localized bubbles of altered reality. This is why we had to evolve, Elena explained, her form shifting as she interfaced directly with the station's systems. Conventional weapons, conventional physics, they're useless against an enemy that can simply change the rules of reality itself. We had to become something that could operate outside those rules. As if to demonstrate, she raised her hand, and her flesh flowed like liquid metal, extending tendrils that merged with the station's quantum interface. Through her connection, the entire Trinity network hummed with power, generating counter-frequencies to the Harbinger's reality distortions. Alert, the station's AI announced. Detecting multiple quantum signature matches. Harbinger seed forms emerging in all major population centers. Corruption spread at 47% and accelerating. Kralnx's patterns showed pure terror as he processed the feeds. The council chamber, those aren't just council members anymore. They're what the Harbingers turn people into, Elena finished grimly. Living anchors for their altered reality. Each one spreads their influence, changing more territory to match their physics. Once a critical mass is reached, the entire galaxy becomes compatible with their existence. Through the station's viewport, they could see the human fleet moving into predetermined positions, each ship a node in a vast quantum web designed to contain and counter the Harbinger invasion. The ship's liquid metal hulls flowed and shifted, generating fields that stabilized local spacetime against the invaders' influence. 50,000 years ago, we realized we couldn't fight this war with traditional weapons, Elena continued, her voice carrying harmonics that seemed to strengthen reality itself. So we became the weapons. Every human who went into exile was part of a genetic and technological engineering program spanning centuries. We evolved to exist in multiple states simultaneously, to be both matter and energy, wave and particle, real and quantum. Venza watched in fascination as Elena demonstrated, her form splitting into multiple quantum states, each one operating in slightly different phase with normal spacetime. You've become living paradoxes, she realized. Beings that can exist outside the Harbinger's corrupted physics. Exactly, Elena's multiple forms spoke in harmony. But it's not enough to simply fight them. We have to purge their influence from this galaxy entirely. That's what the Trinity network was designed for, not just to detect them, but to rewrite reality back to its proper form. Suddenly, new alarms blared. The Harbingers had detected the human fleet's presence and were responding. Massive entities began emerging from the space-time tiers, beings of impossible geometry that hurt to look at, their very existence an offense to ordered reality. They remember us, Elena said, her forms remerging as she prepared for battle. They remember how we escaped them 50,000 years ago. They've been hunting us across the dark spaces between galaxies ever since, never realizing we let them follow us, led them away from the network until it was ready. The station's displays showed the full scope of the invasion now. Harbinger entities were emerging across the galaxy, their corrupt influence spreading like cracks in reality itself. But at each point of emergence, human ships moved to contain them, generating quantum fields that forced local spacetime to remain stable. This station isn't just an observation post, Elena revealed, interfacing deeper with its systems. It's a linchpin in the largest quantum computer ever created, a device capable of rewriting the basic functions of reality itself. But to activate it, we needed the Harbingers to commit their full force to the invasion. We needed them to expose their true forms. Venza's crystalline form resonated with sudden understanding. You're not just fighting them, you're trying to change the fundamental laws of the galaxy to make their existence here impossible. Yes, Elena confirmed, as the station began to pulse with building power. But to do that, we need help from the galaxy's native species. Your crystalline technology, properly integrated with our quantum systems, could be the key to generating a resonance they can't adapt to. Through the viewports, space itself seemed to be catching fire as human ships engaged the Harbinger entities in reality-warping combat. The final battle for the galaxy's very nature had begun, and its outcome would determine not just who would survive, but what forms of existence would remain possible within its bounds. The Last Stand. Trinity Station shuddered as reality wars raged across the galaxy. The human fleet engaged the Harbinger entities in combat that defied conventional physics, their evolved ships flowing between states of matter and energy as they fought to contain the invasion. Elena stood at the station's quantum core, her form resonating with the combined power of the Trinity network. Venza, she called out, her voice carrying harmonic frequencies that stabilized local spacetime, we need your help. Your crystalline technology is the key to completing the network's resonance pattern. Understanding dawned in Venza's crystalline structure. The markings on your ships, they're not decorative. They're crystalline matrices, similar to our computing systems. Yes, Elena confirmed. We've spent 50,000 years developing technology that could interface with the various species of this galaxy. Your people's crystalline computing, evolved naturally, creates quantum frequencies that the Harbingers can't corrupt. Combined with our network, a massive shock wave rippled through spacetime as a Harbinger entity larger than the others emerged near the galactic core. Its very presence caused reality to buckle and warp, transforming nearby systems into geometries that shouldn't exist. The Harbinger Prime, Elena breathed. Their consciousness nexus. It's finally revealed itself. Through the station's quantum feeds, they watched as the massive entity began unfolding dimensions that shouldn't exist, its influence spreading like cracks in reality's foundation. Corrupted council ships, their crews transformed into anchors for Harbinger physics, moved to protect their master. Venza, Elena said urgently, I need you to interface with the station's systems. Your crystalline form can help generate the final resonance frequency we need. Kral NX, your knowledge of quantum mechanics could help stabilize the pattern. The alien researchers shared a moment of communication through their pattern language. They had come seeking knowledge of humanity's past, only to find themselves fighting for the galaxy's future. Venza moved to the quantum interface, her crystalline form beginning to resonate with the station's frequencies. Kral NX positioned himself at the auxiliary controls, his patterns shifting to match the computational rhythms needed. Trinity Network, execute Protocol Omega, Elena commanded. All across the galaxy, the hidden stations activated their full power. Space itself began to sing with quantum harmonics as humanity's 50,000-year plan entered its final phase. The evolved human fleet moved into precise formations around the Harbinger Prime, their liquid metal hulls generating overlapping fields of stabilized spacetime. Each ship was a note in a vast cosmic symphony, their combined frequencies building towards something unprecedented. What we're about to attempt has never been done, Elena explained, her form splitting into multiple quantum states to manage the complex operations. We're going to rewrite the fundamental constants of this galaxy's spacetime. Make it permanently hostile to Harbinger physics. The Harbinger Prime seemed to sense their intent. It lashed out with tentacles of corrupted reality, trying to break the forming pattern. But wherever its influence spread, human ships were there to contain it, their evolved forms immune to its reality-warping powers. Venza's crystalline structure hummed with power as she channeled energy through the station systems. The resonance pattern grew stronger, spreading through the Trinity network. Each station added its voice to the symphony, building toward a crescendo that would reshape reality itself. Now, Elena's voice carried command frequencies that activated protocols 50 millennia in the making. The Trinity network pulsed as one, and a wave of restructured spacetime burst forth from every station simultaneously. The Harbinger Prime writhed as the new physics took hold. Its impossible geometry began to collapse, unable to maintain coherence in a reality that no longer supported its existence. Across the galaxy, its lesser manifestations followed suit, their corrupted spaces reverting to normal spacetime. But the victory came at a cost. As the wave of restructured reality spread, the human fleet's liquid metal hulls began to crystallize. The quantum evolution that had protected them from the harbingers was becoming locked into new forms, more solid, more permanent. We knew this would happen, Elena said, watching her own form begin to stabilize. The price of making this galaxy permanently hostile to them was accepting that we too would have to change. No more existing in multiple states. No more fluid forms. We're becoming part of this new reality, just like everything else. The wave reached the galactic core, and the Harbinger Prime made one final attempt to preserve itself. It tried to tear open a gateway to escape, but the new physics snapped shut around it. With a silent scream that rippled through quantum frequencies, the vast entity collapsed, its very existence denied by the reformed laws of reality. As the chaos subsided, Venza and Kral NX watched in wonder as the human ships settled into their new forms, still advanced beyond current technology, but now solid, crystalline, more like the vessels of the galaxy's native species. Was it worth it? Venza asked, watching Elena's now stable form adjust to its new limitations. Giving up what you'd evolved into? Elena smiled, touching her solid skin with wonder. We spent 50,000 years learning to transcend physical form so we could save this galaxy. Now we get to learn how to live in it again. That seems like a fair trade. Through Trinity Station's viewport, they could see ships from various species approaching, drawn by the quantum disturbances, coming to investigate what had happened. The time had come for humanity to rejoin the galactic community, not as mysterious godlike beings, but as equals who had sacrificed their transcendence to preserve reality itself. Besides, Elena added, watching the approaching ships, we didn't lose everything. We just traded one form of evolution for another. And this time, we get to do it alongside the rest of the galaxy. The station's quantum core hummed contentedly, its mission complete. Humanity had returned, reality had been preserved, and a new chapter in galactic history was about to begin, one where the combined ingenuity of all species would guide their development into whatever they would become next. In the end, humanity's greatest achievement wasn't in transcending physical form, but in knowing when to return to it for the greater good. The galaxy was safe, the harbingers were gone, and the future was once again uncertain, just as it should be.